Welcome into Extreme Talk presented by GracePointe Healthcare. Go to GracePointeHealthcare.com. Get $20 off your new patient office visit fee when you request online and mention 8-Man Extreme GracePointe Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. And we are fueled by Fairlife Core Power Protein. Welcome to 2021, and with a new name and a new show, it's time to reveal something special to you, everybody. Welcome to everyone watching and listening around the world. Spencer Thompson.
Why I did that.
Hello! Jazz hands.
Wow, that was loud.
Jazz hands to start off the show for the year.
It'd be more like, what's up?
Spencer Thompson, alongside James Shannon. Two-man show right now. This is just a temporary setup. We've got some other things in the works that you'll see throughout the rest of the season, and it'll be a little bit more higher on the production value as we've got a lot of things. What? You're looking at your own self in the camera.
Oh gosh!
Man, I
need some of that Fairlife Core Power. I need to go work out, get some protein in me.
I've been working out over the summer.
I could tell.
Started doing
I
that.
could tell.
Yeah,
you're starting to lose your dad bod.
Yeah. When it's actually I guess I'll get into my off-season stories here as a perfect segue.
Settle in.
That
puts me off
settle
camera.
in, he says. There's lean.
We gotta find the frame. Still working on the frame.
So December after the All-American games, which we'll get into that in a little bit. But after the All-American games, I went to my sister's house because my parents are still both of them had coronavirus. And I stayed with her for a day or two because I had a friend who was going to host me, but they needed a negative COVID test. Parents' clinic was closed until Monday. Went in, got an instant test, negative. It was fine. Stayed at my friend's place through Christmas because they were still sick and everything. And the day after Christmas, I woke up with a headache, and I didn't think much of it. I thought it was maybe just lack of sleep or something like that because my pattern was bad. And my dad had mentioned, okay, we're out of quarantine and everything. Let's finally gather together and open Christmas presents. I was like, okay. So I go on the 26th. Next day I wake up, I've lost my sense of taste and smell. I'm like, oh, boy, probably have coronavirus. So go in the next day, get a rapid test, positive. Quarantined for 14 days, and I weighed myself before I went to get tested. I was at 248, and I realized from that point it was, you know what? I'm going into quarantine. I'm not going to be able to do anything. Let me try a juice fast. Let me cleanse myself, put some big nutrients in my system. And
make sure you're around a restroom.
For those of you who are tuning into this and wanting 8-Man football talk, we'll get to that in a little bit. But so juice fast.
Make sure you're around a restroom like 24/7 too.
It wasn't that bad.
Was it?
I mean, so to be fair, I was put on medication. I had to take it with food, so I had to break it. It wasn't a true juice fast, but I had to break that. I had to break that fast at least once on Wednesday because I tested positive on Monday. I ate food with my medication then, and then it was Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and I think Saturday towards the afternoon that I had juice fasted completely for those. Wednesday I had some food, and then Saturday night my parents ordered Outback, so I put protein in my system with some steak. But after that, my taste and smell started coming back in the second week of quarantine. So after that point, it was just boredom of having to stay in the same place for 14 days. But no, from that point, it was in the new year. I decided, you know what? I've gone on a juice fast. I started losing some weight. Let me continue to lose it because I'm at 248. I'm feeling terrible, not being able to get to sleep, and I've been I managed my my diet and started cutting out sodas primarily and cutting out most of the sugary stuff, and I've started gradually losing weight naturally with that.
There you go.
And
that's usually like the best place to start.
Oh yeah. And then going into the rest of the college semester, it was just that, and then about right after I got finished with my college exams, I got my COVID shot. I did Pfizer, and after the second shot, my heart started racing after 10 days of the second shot. And I thought, you know what, I see from this, I think I need to start turning some things around. And fortunately, I know there's studies about the heart inflammation stuff, especially in my age category, so it makes sense. But So I decided, you know what, my heart's kind of racing like this. I'm still kind of feeling awful, but I'm not as bad as I was. Let me start working out. So I've been going to Planet Fitness 3 to 4 days a week. I've been working out for about an hour. I've changed my sleep patterns. I used to be like waking up at 10, 11, 12,
Jeez,
and
like
wait.
during
It was
the
difficult
during
for
the
you
week
to get
during
in
the week.
contact with me.
Well, I would wait until I took lunch break at like 11 or 11:30 before texting you. That way, I knew you were awake. I knew you'd been up for about an hour. You kind of got your day going. And now I'm getting texts like as I pull up to the job site at 7:30 from him, like about
Yeah.
random stuff. It's like I'm still getting used to getting texts that early, but it's also kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to have our lives kind of synced up, our
Yeah.
daily lives synced up.
Yeah.
Makes
Now.
communication a little bit easier.
Oh yeah. Now I'm getting to sleep at about 11, 12 o'clock, and I get about 7, 8 hours of sleep, and I'm waking up 7 in the morning, walking around my neighborhood, then going on my rideshare shift for about 9 or 9:30 to about 5:30 in the afternoon. Go to Plant.
Do you pull Mr. Rogers and like put
It's
your
a
sweater
beautiful
on?
day in the
Like,
neighborhood.
put your sneakers on. Go for the little walk. Say hi to all the neighborhood.
Well, mine
Come
is
back inside, change your sweater out, change your shoes out, singing while you do it.
the sweater in this heat would actually be good for weight loss because
Yes, it
the
would.
amount of sweating and such. That's a good idea. I still people call it sweaters, but people don't actually sweat in them because they're mostly worn in the winter just to keep them warm. It's just like sweatpants. They should be called "I will never ever ever sweat in these pants." Because people don't wear sweatpants to sweat. But no, no.
All right, then.
No, so 5:30, 6 o'clock, I go over to Planet Fitness, work out for about an hour, get home with dinner, and catch up on any other stuff I have to do. In between all of that, I'm trying to respond to messages from you, from trying to respond to inquiries with college, and doing that kind of stuff. And mostly like Wednesdays and Sundays are my off days where I don't work out or don't really go outside of the house, and I just relax and everything. But no, but
So you've been staying busy, but you haven't.
yeah, no, some of you guys already know I made my debut on ESPN Plus back
there
in
you go.
February.
Round of applause for that
No,
guy.
no,
There you go.
it
Big
was a
time.
last-second thing where their main play-by-play guy had a death in the family, and they went down their list of people, and there was nobody else really
He
available.
was at the bottom of the list.
No, I was, yeah, and it's a shout out to Chip Walters.
He's like, they're like, we gotta go with this Spencer guy.
Yeah, but
Bottom
no,
of the barrel there, buddy.
no, but
it's
it's a special shout out to
Should
Chip
be at the
Walters.
top of the freaking barrel, but anyways.
Because Chip Walters mentioned to the producer over with ESPN Plus for MTSU Media Arts, he mentioned, Spencer's available, right? You should see there is availability. And I got an email of just asking about it, and we talked. This was like on Tuesday, and I think it was the last Tuesday of January or something, or it was either the first or second weekend of February. And I told them, yeah, I've called junior collegiate basketball before and done that stuff, and they were like, well, yeah, we're in need of a play-by-play guy because everybody else is busy, and they trusted in me. They threw me in there with not knowing my analysts or really that much about the team. I studied. I studied those teams in depth, which it's way easier at the collegiate level than it is at the high school level because all the stats are up there.
They have SIDs.
Yeah.
The coaches don't think they have a competitive advantage by withholding information.
Yep, exactly.
I'm not going to go down that road.
But no, I had the absolute thrill and pleasure of my life to have the television debut. I know it's ESPN Plus is streaming, but it's still 4-letter network with a plus.
Well,
on
it also kind of it was your television debut, but they also didn't get any shots of you.
That was because because of coronavirus restrictions. That was the first game that they allowed fans back in Murphy. So they
I know they wanted fan shots, but still.
Well, it wasn't even that. It's that they moved up the press stand and everything, and they just couldn't get a camera up there that made it work. So it was solely a production standpoint. I told them, it's not about me. It's about the players in that. So, but I got my camera time during the women's soccer game, and as far as I'm aware, they asked me if I'd be interested in doing women's soccer and volleyball again for MTSU in the fall. So I'm looking forward to managing that and balancing that along with one more year here with you and everybody else that's going to be involved this fall and everything. I'm looking forward to a bittersweet campaign of goodbyes to the coaches that have surrounded myself and all that. But
he's trying to make a Kobe exit.
That's future me's problem and future James's problem. We got a lot of time.
If you see me over here on the computer, by the way, I'm monitoring the YouTube stream. So he's monitoring the OBS side of it.
Yep.
I've got the YouTube side of
Yep.
it. It's all the comments and everything. If you comment, it's probably me responding. I'm just not going to mention it on air. So there you go.
Yeah. So, but anyways,
Well,
you know,
there you go.
I've talked too long. How was your off season?
Man, it the first part of the year it wasn't too busy. So I coached 12U softball,
Mhm.
rec softball. It's
And
something
congrats on
that
that championship.
appreciate it.
Give it up.
Appreciate it.
Championship. First one in
let me
Springfield,
let
right?
me get it. Let me get to it. Okay.
Mhm.
So 2 years ago, my wife coached 10U, and I kind of tagged along and helped a little bit. And then last year, I said, you know what, I want to give it a try. So I went back. I said, hey, do you got 10U? They said, no, we need 12U. I said, all right, let's coach 12U. So I coached last year, an abbreviated season. I said, I want to come back 1 year, and I want to see what I can do. So I came back this year. We did our draft in like February, started practicing in March, had games in April and May. And I coached in Springfield, my hometown, last year of doing it. But, you know, there were some players on the team that had been on my team last year and then been on our team 2 years ago. So, you know, it was kind of a history thing. I was like, okay, let's make this happen one more time. So there's a conference that Springfield and a couple other towns play in. I think White House, Greenbrier, Ashland City, and then there's one in Madison and one over on the west side of town. They're all in. Well, all of these towns, there's 6 teams in the age group. All of them only had one team. I was the only one where Springfield had 2 teams. So there was another coach. We had 2 teams. We had to play each other 6 times. Well, we ended up splitting the 6-game series. Had to play Game 7. Won the Game 7. Took the all-star team to the tournament. That was 2 weeks ago. Actually, right about now, we were wrapping the game up, the championship game up to win it.
Mhm.
It was a blowout. It was a fun tournament. We went 4-0, outscored our opponents 49-30. So it was a lot of fun. But you know, the downside was I had to merge 2 teams of girls that were rivals all year, and that legitimately had a lot of problems with each other. The upside was I got 3 starting pitchers out of it, so I rotated them each inning. Anyways, softball talk. But no, so it all worked out. Won championship, so that was a lot of fun. But man, I'm looking forward to getting back into football.
Yeah.
Football is my first love. Softball was fun. I thought it was funny that a guy that never played baseball and softball won a softball championship over other people who had played baseball and softball, but I'll leave that alone. But no, ready to get back into football and ready for the season, man. It's been way too long. We haven't done anything with football since December.
No, June. Well, I mean, not with 8-Man Extreme and stuff.
Yeah, we did a side. We did a side.
Yeah, we did a
little
side
gig.
Yeah.
in June.
But yeah, December since the All-American
so
games.
I'm ready for it. But that's literally been my entire off season is family, work, and softball. That's all it's been.
Yeah, my off season has just been. I mean, I've gone on several vacations.
Which that's how our off seasons usually are. Is we spend a lot of time with each other during the season. A lot of stuff slacks off. And then the off season is about, and this is really for anybody in football, coaches or you know whatever. You spend so much time on football during the season that you really just step away during the off season.
Yep.
Focus on personal life. Focus on work or whatever. Whatever your goals are. If you're in school, you try to pick up more hours at school. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It absolutely is. Yeah, my off season was filled with college work, broadcast, more broadcasting in the spring and everything. I
thought about bringing the trophy. I should have brought the trophy and just put it right here.
Yeah, you mentioned you were going to bring the trophy.
I
for
should
the
have
first
brought the trophy.
Yeah.
Here's what's stupid
missed
about
opportunity.
Okay. Here's a beef that I have. Okay.
Oh boy.
So they had the champion and the runner up. So all the girls on the championship team got. It's like a trophy like 12 inches. All the championship got a trophy with 12 inches that on the plaque it said champions. The runners up, all the girls got a 12-inch that said runners up. And then they had a big old like 24, 30-inch trophy that was a sportsmanship trophy.
Mm-hmm.
So like every other age group, a whole bunch of teams stuck around, so they gave it to whoever, the team with the best sportsmanship. I don't know.
Yeah.
So my team got the little trophies. Their team, and then because they were the only other team there, and they weren't the champions, and I guess they had good sportsmanship. I don't know how they judged it. They gave them the big old 24-foot trophy, and then we got the little bracket board that they had posted where they kept an updated bracket. We got to take that back. I was like, I mean, I guess we got a bracket board, but whatever.
It just makes me think. I know it wouldn't happen in your league, but imagine if they give out an award for the most unsportsmanlike. Just I know it wouldn't happen in your league.
There's
but
some people that would have voted for me.
that.
Okay, so I had a superstition. Okay, so when we played the game 7 between the two Springfield teams to determine who would be the All-Star coach, we did the coin toss in the coaches meeting at home plate with the umpires, and then I brought a Red Bull. So we did the meeting, a little 8-ounce Red Bull. We did the meeting, and then I was running back to the dugout, and I tried to shotgun the Red Bull. Went horribly. We won. So we rolled into that first tournament game. I said, I'm going to try to shotgun a Red Bull again. Went horribly. We won. I said, I'm going to keep doing something before each game. Second game, I take a couple water bottles, and I do the Stone Cold, the smash them and drink them, pour them all over yourself, whatever. The third game, I ripped my coach's shirt, my jersey off, and did like a rally towel kind of thing. And I had an undershirt on and everything, but whipped it off, did a little rally towel thing. And then the championship game, I said, okay, we're gonna have fun with this one. And so I took some baby powder and got. Why you started laughing when I said baby powder?
Just some leftover with his kids.
So we had baby powder. So I got some baby powder and I put it in a container. And we did our whole pre-game championship thing, and then it came time. And then they were like, "Okay, I think we were the home team. No, we were the away team." So they said, "All right, let's everybody take the field." So I took it, put it out, and I did the whole LeBron, the chalk toss, and tossed it up. And so I did that whole. So before each game, I did something fun, and. I don't know if people had fun with it or not. I had fun with it.
He longs for the days that he could have done that during his 10 years of football player. Imagine you could be the rally cap crew on at CCS.
Dude, I was a second string bench warmer.
Yeah, you could have been the rally cap crew on the bench. It could have been.
I guess I could have done the whole chalk thing. I don't know if Coach Thornton will let me do that. Just the.
Yeah. Sounds like it was a good off season.
It was a lot of fun. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with softball.
Mm-hmm.
Made some good friendships, some good connections, but. Like I said, man, I'm ready to get back into football.
Oh, yeah.
I love football. This season's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of exciting things on the horizon for us that we're doing, a lot of new things that y'all will get to see down the road. Some stuff we've been working on behind the scenes. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's you'll be seeing a lot of stuff revealed throughout the season and everything. I mean, this is just the start of it. So that segues perfectly into a recap of the offseason. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Now that for 30 minutes we've
just talked about
ourselves.
Probably about only like 25. Yeah, because we started late.
Yeah, something like that.
This usually happens almost every year. Something goes wrong on the first day of the show. Like last year, you had your softball championship, so you couldn't even be on the first day of the show.
That's right.
So something weird happens every time.
And I lost that championship.
Let's address the elephant in the room. Extreme Radio is no more. It is Extreme Talk.
That's
so.
right.
For those of you looking at this and seeing Extreme Talk, no, it's not the show where James goes off the handle. I mean, he goes off the handle no matter what.
I'm going to do it no matter what the name is. So
he's going to. But
we said let's do it.
But we figured, Extreme Radio, we kept it as a homage to where the roots were with 8-Band Extreme, in that it started on Blog Talk Radio, and that's where it was originally started in that name. But honestly, it just came down to, I sent a text to James about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I said, hey, let's change it to Extreme Talk, because of some of the advancements we're doing and some of the new improvements we're doing behind the scenes with equipment and such. We could show our faces. We could do, because there are several podcasts.
Not saying that y'all want to see our faces.
No, we have faces for radio.
But we're going to show our faces. So
we both have faces for radio.
I'm trying to think of how people can still listen to this and not have to see. I mean, I guess you can turn it on and turn your screen down and just listen to it.
Yeah, it's the same thing that people do with the previous podcast, because it's just a screen that's. It used to be just
that's just looking at a screen. This is our faces, and they might just want to.
Maybe they like to see the human interaction from us, or some of you do. I don't know, but it's just standard with there are podcasts that do video and as well as audio. So
this makes it easier for me to trigger people.
Absolutely,
because I can
you could look them straight in the eye and say,
"Your team." I can wear team hats.
Yeah,
we can talk about the slowest imbeciles across America.
Speaking of team hats.
That's what I said. Yeah, I'm gonna wear something from each team each week. So let me put this out there: coach, athletic director, athlete, get me some gear from your school, whether it's a hat, a shirt.
Who are you missing on gear now?
Okay, so Wow. Now that I'm thinking back, I actually have a whole lot of stuff from schools that aren't around anymore. I have a Hendersonville Christian hat,
Uh-huh.
Webb shirt, Swanee shirt.
Not around as in not in the
Bowling
eight-man
Green-
football scene anymore because Webb and Hendersonville are still
Yeah, they're
functioning
still schools. Well, so is Swanee.
yeah,
They're
Swanee's
just not in
still
the
school.
8-man world anymore. I have
Bowling Green.
a Bowling Green.
Which we'll get to
I have
that.
a pair of Bowling Green shorts. I don't know how I ended up with. That's the only shorts I have. Let's see. I have obviously CCS shirt because I played there. I don't have anything from South Haven or Classical. Nothing from Evangel. I do have a Riverside shirt.
You
Obviously,
don't have
my
anything from
Tennessee Heat-
Evangel yet?
No, I don't. And
Coach Smith.
Coach Smith.
Our friend, our great friend there.
He loans us like a hat, or somebody loans us a hat
For
when we
the-
do the
for
show
the
down
purpose,
there.
yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, give me my hat back." I'm like, I got
Coach
a
Smith.
rep.
Yeah, Coach Smith. At some point, when we come down to Evangel, which I know that'll happen at some point this year, let's hook up James with a hat. Let's
Hey,
hook him
I'm
up with
trying
a cap.
to get gear from
A
everybody.
cap
though.
or a
Hey,
T-shirt,
listen, Grace
something.
Baptist, let's get it. Who do I not have? South Haven. I have nothing from South, which I guess I could buy something from the New England Patriots. But even then, I really don't want to do
Well,
that.
yeah.
Anyways, Lighthouse. I don't have anything. Lancaster. I don't have anything. Who else am I missing? Providence. Sacred Heart. I've got nothing. Give me some stuff. Let me rep the team.
So that way
Let
he
me
can
rep
wear
your
it on
team
the
once each
show.
week.
And the same feelings that you were feeling right now for him wearing the Tennessee Heat cap, you'll be able to have other people feel that
This
when
is
he's
actually
wearing your
this
cap.
is actually a pretty old hat. I've
It
had
still
this
looks
hat
good.
for several. It does look good. They have nice hats. It's the kind of the older Heat. Well, they're going back to using it, but it's the flaming Tennessee Heat logo.
But in essence, we just figured that we transition to
Get
the
to rep
new
the
age, especially
All-Star
going
game?
into our.
All-American game.
Oh yeah. I
All-American
purposely.
Bowl?
I was debating between this or the 2018 All-Star Game shirt I had.
At
and I
least
just
you're wearing
went with
something
this.
on brand.
Oh yeah. First show, of course.
I
But
thought about wearing my championship jersey from softball. I cut the sleeves off.
If
Oh, look. So I burned all of
Sunburn.
this completely over the
no one
course of
wants
that
to see
tournament.
your sunburn, man.
I have a farmer's tan, but
So do I.
I got to get it. Hopefully, it'll get better.
Yeah, through my vacations, I've got some,
My legs are still white.
tan as well.
Basically, if James has your swag, your program goes away.
Yeah. Wait, you need to take that cap off. Say psych right
my
now. Say
gosh.
psych right now.
Oh my! They've already. Hey, guess what? They already almost went away, and they
With the
came
co-op,
back.
Yeah.
They
it's a little
co-opted
fun.
with Hendersonville Christian.
Are you ready for a miracle?
Wow. Wow. Feel called out.
Essentially, Extreme Talk. It's just with us evolving with the times, going into our 8th season. We figure we're always trying to try something new and push the barriers and reach new ceilings. And you're going to see more of that as we get into our broadcast year and get into 2021 season, which we're hoping is going to be nothing like last year with everything that went on with the coronavirus protocols and
Pretty
everything,
wild.
because it does seem like we are past the thickest of things in that regard. So we're hoping, of course, that that we're able to have a football season. Looks like we're going to, especially with it a few weeks out, and we're not having to start in August like we did last year. So we're excited for that. But yeah, it is no longer.
We started the show in August.
Yeah.
And the game started in September.
Yeah, and usually we start at the weekend after 4th of
Right.
July.
So
but
everything
of
was
course we
moved
had-
up a month.
Yep, everything moved up from September, and with the Jamboree being canceled and all that. So, Extreme Radio, memento for 2014 to
Moment of
2020.
silence.
Thank you. And say hello to
I don't know how to count, so that was your moment.
the rebranded Extreme Talk, which, again, it's not the Extreme Talk where James completely ranted, flew off the handle, and interviewed people, which, I mean, we're going to have that at some points on the show and everything, depending on which guests we get on. But
Before we go any further, I do want to, speaking of moment of silence, before we
Yeah.
go any further and get into the fun stuff, there is some serious stuff
Yeah.
that we need to talk about. The 8-man world lost 2 great coaches, and I know that the one has gotten around a little bit more than the other one, but they're both super important, especially to their respective programs. Talking about Coach Rowley, Coach Jerry Rowley from Christian Community, and then Coach Ben Pugh, formerly with team in Franklin and Christian Community. Coach Pugh was at Donaldson Christian at the time, and You texted or you called me last week.
Yeah.
And kind of gave me the news
Yeah.
just out of the blue. Both of them really out of the blue. Like I said, both were super important to their schools. Whether it was the current schools, those schools they had been at, you had a little bit. Coach Rowley was on the staff when I played.
Mhm.
He was around the program, and then you had a relationship, a
He
close
was
relationship
my
with Q.
yeah, he was my history teacher. He was American history and world history in sophomore and junior year and such. I do want to additionally we had a loss back in March of a man by the name of Gary Nicholson, who was a longtime official of the Mid-State Officials Association, one of Ronnie Perkins' guys, who we interacted with him several times at several games that we did and everything, and he suddenly passed away back in late March and such. But 2021 is with all the deaths that have happened within the last year, the 600,000 United States citizens that have passed for COVID-related reasons. These three individuals, they did not pass for COVID-related reasons, as far as we're aware. That doesn't diminish their the losses that were taken from that, and the families that lost their loved ones.
The families lost their loved ones. The programs that they were around, and the official, the friends and the community that he had. Just
So
it's tough.
So to Gary Nicholson, to Coach Jerry Rowley, and Coach Ben Pugh, we're just going to take a brief moment of silence in memory of them.
And there you go.
Yep.
I think it'll be interesting to see the programs that they were affiliated with.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing.
Yep.
Maybe the first game of the season. Just to kind of acknowledge it. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, and I know at least with Coach Ben Pugh, he was at Donaldson Christian for the last several years, and he was at Christian Community, was the last 8-man football school he worked in, and him and Coach Rowley, that'll be I'm sure CCS will have some.
He's actually the reason I believe that CCS is the colors they are, because he was a West Virginia fan. And so that's how they ended up with the colors that they had. He was there from pretty much the beginning.
All our thoughts.
Of course, his sons Zach played, and then Nathaniel Tiny was the quarterback there a few years ago. Won the championship in 2019. No, 18. 18 because they beat Webb. So there you go. But yeah.
All our thoughts and best wishes go to their families and everyone involved with
thoughts and prayers for sure.
All right. Well, as we mentioned, it's now Extreme Talk, and let's get into some Extreme Talk.
Let's do it.
Just a quick recap: the Gatlinburg All-American Games back in 2020. That we ended up doing 4 total All-American Bowl games in the year of 2020 because we didn't expect it, but. After I think the story we told at the beginning of the season with the Gatlinburg situation in early 2020, that's when James and I looked at each other on the drive back, and he said, "What a way to ring in the new year, huh?" And then everything happened after that. But
a lot of people are blaming Kansas City though for winning the Super Bowl, and then
it was already coronavirus was already around in February before they won the Super Bowl. So like it was already it just wasn't as prevalent.
It wasn't as prevalent.
It was on its way, but no. So James was asked to be on the committee for. The selection committee for the All-American Bowls, and he's still serving on it. And they made the decision to move it to a better time for the players and the coaches, which was in December. I believe the weekend technically before where most of the schools have their final exams, and close to that.
I think it was close to the time most schools have your Christmas break too.
Yep. Close
that way
to that.
It works out with the timing there.
Yep, and makes it so that it's not interfering with school as much. So they. Knowing we dropped not dropped our schedules. We were available to do the early 2020 All-American Games. They actually negotiated with us. We struck out a deal and covered both the 8-man and 11-man games. And that was some good star-studded cast throughout those. I really think the committee did a great job with the selection and the. I think the team assignments were fairly balanced. I mean, the 8-man game.
No,
was
the
a little,
8-man game was completely off.
Yeah.
That there was
you
no,
said it,
there,
not me.
there- I'll say it. I'll say it. There was no. It was so unfair. I hated it for the kids, really on both sides, because the kids that were doing the blowing out, got the big win. It's like, I mean, yeah, you had a big win to go out, but it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like a. It was a fun game, I guess. I wouldn't want to win a blowout All-American game like that. I'd want it to be close and have fun. And then the kids on the other side that didn't score at all the entire game, you hate that for them too. Several Tennessee guys on both rosters. So that was fun. A lot of Alabama guys on both rosters. Coach Tim Smith was the head coach for one team.
Is Tim Smith versus Isaiah Austin, right?
No, it was Tim Smith versus Tim Smith was the offense. Coach Roland Bell from Southern Prep was the defense. And then for the other team, it was Coach Alan Gleaton from the Pac Panthers in South Carolina, and then Isaiah Austin from Franklin Classical was the defensive coach. So it just it was a very exciting game for one team. The other team had some great plays, but struggled. So the 11-man game was super close.
Oh yeah,
the 11-man game was great.
That came right down to the wire.
And so the hope is that in the future, and I think they're going to change it up. They've changed some of the head personnel. I'm not on it. I'm on the selection committee, but I'm not necessarily helping the game. But I hope that they decide. I think they're going to go with a draft, just to kind of split teams up a little more evenly. I know last year they were trying to keep guys together that had played together or played against each other. But the draft, I feel, and having experience from doing the All-Star game, it's fun because guys, there's all the potential of who's going first. Who's going to get put on what team and put with what player, with what coach. There's a lot of suspense around it instead of just saying, hey, you're going here, and just pre-selecting who's going where.
They should probably get some pointers from you on the draft selection from the All-Star game.
I'm willing to help. When we did do 4 All-Star games that were actually pretty even. I'm trying to think of the biggest blow. I think the biggest blowout we had was 2018.
Maybe.
It was the one. It was Don Brown was one coach, and Jason Bragg was the other. I want to say it was Team Daughter or Team Stensby.
No, that was Rollins.
That was right. It was Rollins and who was the other one?
Was it? It wasn't not Austin.
No.
The other one was.
It was. Oh goodness.
This is gonna kill him. Now you can see him on air. Anytime you hear him going, "Oh goodness," he immediately goes to the research to figure out what's going on.
I got to get it right. It was Rollins. I cannot believe I can't remember.
Was Stensby the same year as Rollins, or no? Was he separate?
Man, I cannot.
Because I know it was.
Hang on.
Wait,
yes, it was. It was Daughter and Stensby. That's right. It was Legate and Jones. First year was home. First year was home and away, and then we did Legate Jones. 18 was Daughter Stensby, and then 19 was
Brown and it was
Tucker Brown and
who was the other? That's a great question. Who was the other alumni from that one?
I've slept since then. Hang on.
We've all slept since then because especially with that game, we went down from there to Panama City Beach. That was
okay. So 19 was Daughter Stensby. Okay. 19 was Daughter Stensby, and then 18
was Rollins with Bragg and was Brown. Did Brown coach in 18 as well?
No, oh man.
It was a coach from the north.
This is terrible.
What? Which coach?
Hang on,
I think it may have been Coach Brown again.
I know Coach Brown did it twice. It may have been Coach Brown.
Yeah, I think it was Coach Brown that year. Because 2019, I know we were looking for.
I love putting content out on social media, but then you got a whole lot of stuff to.
You post a whole bunch of stuff, man. You're doing good with the 50-day countdown post.
Oh, that's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot of fun to highlight.
A lot of research too.
Little bit of research, but it's fun to highlight players and kind of give them a spotlight of, um,
Absolutely.
yeah, just say, hey, there's that Rollins. It was Rollins and Brown.
Yeah. Okay.
18 was
Rollins.
Colton Rollins and Tucker Brown.
Okay, and then 19.
And I
19
want to
was
say
Timothy
that
Goddard.
the Brown won that game. Yes. So that was the biggest. That was the biggest one.
Yep.
Because that was the year that right after that we did the national championship with
Yep,
Evangel
yep.
and CCS.
Yeah, yep. It was right after, and that was cold on that mountain. That was cold.
It was a little chilly.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was a little chilly.
Well, the All-American Bowl games, those happened a while ago. We enjoyed every second of it. Looking forward to working with Rocky Top Sports World again and doing those in December. And it should be a lot of fun. And I won't have to quarantine this time. At least that's the hope. That's the hope for December with going down there, because that's actually what happened during the Gatlinburg game. I was flying back in from a vacation in California, and because my dad had tested positive. I mean, I hadn't shown any symptoms, and it was about 6-7 days at that point and no symptoms. So they had me quarantined in the hotel room. I was in a separate section in the press box and everything, which was fine.
We made it work.
Yeah, we made it work. So looking forward to going to Gatlinburg.
There's one thing we're good at doing, it's making it work.
Looking forward to going to Gatlinburg. Another thing we're good at doing is continuing to recap the offseason and the other changes we got. Let's talk first. Zion Christian Academy. You've been predicting for years that they were going to go into 8-man football, and you were right at first.
At least the first 3 years.
Yeah, you were right at first.
Well, I was more so. I was predicting, but I was also saying, hey, they need to make this move. If you look at their track record, you look at how their seasons have gone and the size of the roster, they need to make the move, is what I've been saying for years. And at first they did.
At first they did, but as your resident TSIAA insider here, it was a lot of miscommunication from what has been gathered.
Yeah, and I love the whole you had the scoop that they were doing it, and then you had the scoop that they weren't. And when you said they weren't, everyone was like, "Yeah, they're doing it. They're locked in. They're doing it. We haven't heard." No, you were right. They weren't doing it.
Yeah,
how about y'all trust the dude?
Yeah, there were a lot of back and forth. So it was originally the scheduling meeting did not happen this year. The league opted to push it onto the athletic directors and let the coaches and all the schools handle it individually for their scheduling due to coronavirus reasons. So they allowed for that. And so actually, before we get into Zion Christian, let's talk about the division restructure because that's where it kind of gets into. So that email that they sent out an email to the schools saying that we're going to let you guys handle scheduling. Here's your division structure, meaning who you have to place off against teams. The Franklin teams are split for the second time in league history. They put Franklin Classical in the north. They put Franklin Christian in the south of the TSIAA, and it's not uncommon. But from what the discussion and the thought process was, they moved Ezel Harding to the north, which was bound to happen eventually.
That's fair. I mean, Lighthouse is 2 minutes up the road, and they're in the north.
Yeah, it was bound to happen in that regard. It's just they moved Ezel Harding to the south to fill those slots when I believe was it Swanee? Swanee dropped out in 2019. It was when Webb dropped out.
They needed pretty much swap spots.
Yep, they needed to swap the spots there. But it was also travel to try and balance it out. Because you look at the South teams and the way they're structured, the South has a really unbalanced amount of travel compared to the North teams.
Especially this year.
Oh, yeah. This year, that's why they added Franklin Classical to try and balance that out. I mean, if Sacred Heart were in the league and not independent, then they would obviously the travel would kind of balance out in that regard. But it's still, the North right now.
And now the North doesn't have to go to Bowling Green.
Yeah, they don't. The North doesn't have to go to Bowling Green, which wasn't as bad for Christian Community because it was only like 30, 45 minutes. Or South Haven because they're not that bad. But
anybody else,
for Lighthouse, it was a bit of a travel. For Ezel Harding, if they were in the North of Bowling Green, that would have been a bit of a travel for them. Sacred Heart, that would have been an excessive travel.
Heat. Yeah, when they were in the conference.
When they were in the conference. But, yeah, so the North structure, the Franklin teams are split. The South now had Zion but didn't. So I guess first off, your thoughts on the division restructure.
I mean, like you said, it was kind of necessary. They had to make the move. You had to balance things out. I mean, you hate it now looking back and knowing what we know about the way that Zion was in, and then they were out because of. I'm gonna say it's because of pride of playing 11-man. It's ridiculous, but you hate that they restructured it to to facilitate adding these schools, and then they just dropped out. I don't know everything behind the scenes, but I mean I guess we'll see how it works for. That's a bold move. I guess we'll see it. I guess we'll see how it works out for him.
Yeah, at least from the sources I talked to, it's that with Zion Christian, it was very much a battle with the board of directors on the decision going back and forth, where the athletic side was saying we should make the move, but the board was saying no, we don't want to make the move. And they committed at first. They were committed to the conference.
They were on schedules.
Yeah, they were on people's schedules and everything. And then it was a decision, I believe, in like late May, early June, where the board finally said.
A little bit earlier than that.
A little bit, sometime
in
May.
They also already had an 11-man schedule made. So as soon as they announced they were going to 11-man, I was like, well, maybe it'll take them a while to get. No, they had 11-man schedule.
Yep. So they.
Which they play independent anyways. They're not part of the TSSAA.
Yeah.
So they could kind of go around and pick out games. They're not locked into a schedule. But
let's hope that Zion Christian actually looks, because they average about 18 players on their roster every season or something like that. So let's hope that they join the 8-man football scene going into 2022. But at least for now, they are out. Grace Baptist Academy is in from Chattanooga. You talk about the travel that the South is going to have. They got to go at least from Franklin here, the GracePointe Healthcare Studios. It's about 2.5 hours down to Grace Baptist Academy. But for Providence, it's probably about an hour 45, something like that, straight down 24. But it's still
about an hour and a half,
something like that. But the travel is factored in there. But it's good to see another team in 8-man football, and especially with a team that's out of Chattanooga and another one in the scene and everything. So I'm interested to see how these guys, what they have cooking down in Chattanooga.
So let's pull back the curtain. They actually reached out to us last year. I think it was me, one of us, reached out to us last year and asked about going to 8-man, but it was super late in the offseason, like June. So they played their 11-man schedule last year. And then this year went ahead and joined the conference. And, they could have gone independent. They could have played some teams from Georgia. There's a lot of 8-man teams in Georgia. They could have played some 8-man teams here in Tennessee, but they decided to go ahead and join the conference. I'm kind of surprised the conference let them join. I know they let Sacred Heart join in the past in Jackson, which was a little bit of a drive. Bowling Green wasn't that bad. I didn't think they were – because teams already complain about having to drive to Fayetteville. I didn't know that they were going to let Chattanooga in because of the drive to Chattanooga. But obviously, it's not an issue with I guess it's
not an issue with the board.
Well, yeah, with the board. I mean, nowadays, it's not how it should be, where schools have a vote as to who joins the conference. It's more of like a father figure, whatever you want to call it, kind of deal. So
you also have to think about it used to be the Middle Tennessee Athletic Conference. Now that it's the Tennessee State Independent Athletic Association, it's that if you didn't let Grace Baptist in, it's like, why are you not allowing a Tennessee school in the state?
By the way, Grace Baptist had 22 on the roster last year.
22.
Yeah.
It's enough to field one offense and one defense with no substitutes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's if everybody across the board is like, hey, we can everybody can play.
No, yeah, that's tough.
And that's playing in Division II, so that's not even the smallest division in TSSAA for private schools.
Yeah.
So they're trying to compete with schools with 35, 40, 45 guys on the roster. That's a move that needed to be made, and honestly, it needed to be made for Zion as well.
Wanted to correct myself here on Grace Baptist with this. So they're in the conference because the old bylaws with the Middle Tennessee Athletic Conference, it was that you would have to vote to have schools in. At least according to sources, it's that the board did not vote on Grace Baptist coming in. So that comes down to the question of
who decided
who made that decision.
I welcome Grace Baptist.
Exactly.
We'll cover them
problem.
and everything. Yeah. But how did the decision get made to have them in the conference?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
And we've already had a show talking about these new bylaws, and I guess they've been tweaked a little bit or whatever, but
They actually,
don't know.
yeah, the bylaws have been changed in some regards. That's another thing we could mention. We'll get into a little bit, but yeah, for Grace Baptist, welcome to the 8-man football world.
Hey,
Looking
love
forward.
having y'all.
Oh yeah.
No qualms about. By the way, for reference, and this is if Max Preps is correct. So Grace Baptist had 22 last year.
Mm-hmm.
If this is correct, Zion had 14.
14, and they're still staying. In
There's no way this is correct. There's no way this is correct.
You don't think so?
There's no way. I'm going to dig into it a little further.
He'll dig a little bit into it further, and while he's doing that, I'll just highlight really quickly.
But love that Grace Baptist is in there. I don't think we've ever covered a team from Chattanooga. The farthest that way we went was Swanee.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
so
at least in terms of the TSIAA or MTAG, because we've gone to Knox. Oh wait, no, you're talking about like the Southeast. Yeah, we've never gone to Chattanooga for a game, as far as I'm aware.
There you go.
Nothing like that. So that'll be fun to. And yes, at some point we will be down in Chattanooga. We won't tell you when because that's a weekly basis for the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. But we'll tell you at some point. But just a little tidbit in here. I'm going into the TSIAA bylaws for the 2021 and 2022 year because one note I think James and I are interested in talking about is the roster sizes because the cooperative teams, here we are. So there were specifically there were issues last year about what is the co-op roster limit, what isn't, and those kind of things. And and at least per the bylaws, they worked it out. They put it up front. The following limits are effective on total roster sizes of multi-school cooperative teams for given sports. There are a bunch of other sports here specifically, but for football, it is now 20. Since they're regulating 8-man football, you can if you have a co-op. So, for example, Franklin Christian Academy, if they were staying co-op with West Academy, then they would only be allowed to have 20 total players on their roster. So that includes other schools that are co-op. Like I can't remember if Franklin Classical co-ops with anybody. I think there's like something.
No, I don't think they do.
But at least with that Franklin Christian and West Academy co-op, if that continues, there's
and there's also talks that that's in jeopardy, but that's a whole other issue.
That's a different debate that's not finalized yet, and the jury is still out on that, so we can't really speak
we
to that.
We also have to discuss if that's something that we want to cover.
Yeah, it's a little bit of discussion there, but at least for now, it's a 20 roster limit for any co-ops, James. And I know, especially with your homeschool background, you have your kind of thoughts on it with co-ops. But how do you feel about that 20-person limit?
I mean, obviously, more than likely, if you're putting the two schools together, your second school that does not have football. The way it's been in the past is you have a team with football and a team that does not have football. The spirit of the co-op, I feel, is to help the school that doesn't have football, help them get to a point where they can have football. Or if they've had it in the past, like a Tennessee Heat, Hendersonville Christian situation, help both teams bridge over a season where neither of them on their own would have enough to have a team. And so to get them to the next season where they can, once again, have their own teams, which happened. Mm-hmm. More than likely, the team that is, and I'm not saying this is the rule, the team that does not have football that's sending kids, those are going to be very athletic kids. So if you're sending over, let's say, 4 kids, and you have your parent or your home program, your parent program that the name is going to be on there, and you're bringing them in, that's going to be, a regular team, there's going to be super athletic kids on there. If you set the roster limit at 25, you're bringing together the best athletes, more than likely, again, from 2 schools. You're going to have your one school that you may say, well, the co-op limit's 20, but these guys have 25 on their roster.
Yep.
Okay, but you're only, hypothetical, again, you're only going to have 3 or 4, maybe 5 really good athletes on this team, more than likely. You're bringing over, 2 or 3 from here and 2 or 3 or 4 from the parent. Now you've got 6, 7, 8 really good athletes together because of the 2 schools come together. I'm not saying this is how it is. I'm saying hypothetically. So you got to look at that aspect of it. I am all for let the kids play. Mm-hmm. Give the kids an opportunity to play. But on the same hand that I'm saying let the kids play, you also have to look at the competitive advantage and fairness for the other kids that aren't on a co-op team.
Yep.
So, putting the roster limit at 20, okay, you might have to cut some kids from your team, which in 8-man you're not used to because you're usually trying to just get kids out there on the team to get suited up. So, you look at, by the way, a great interview yesterday morning. If you didn't hear about it, head over to our Twitter. Coach Dustin McGee from Ezel Harding was on Sports Saturday, Tate Matthews Sports Saturday, I think it's what it's called.
Yeah.
Did a little hit with him on his show on 104.5, and talking about the roster. I think he said they got 30 on their roster now.
Mm-hmm.
So you may say, well, he has a roster of 30, and whoever's rolling in with a roster of 20. Yeah, but you're probably going to have some real good athletes on this roster of 20.
Yep.
Because chances are, if you have a school that, like I said, if you have a roster of, let's say, 16 and 8-man, more than likely you're going to have some good athletes, and then you're going to have some filler guys, some guys like me, who we're there for bodies, we're there to add numbers in. So you're not going to have those really high-level athletes. So you're bringing two schools of high-level athletes together against a school that maybe has 30, but they're not. You don't have the same number of starters. Like, I would think that a lot of the athletes from the co-op team can go over and play on this team of just one school and start. Whereas if you bring these guys over, they might not start. They're the best that this school has. So I'm cool with the rule. It does make it hard in terms of you can't allow every kid to be on the team. But I mean, it is what it is. You gotta take everything into account.
You got to prevent the potential of super teams.
I hope
being
that made
implemented.
sense.
No, it did. It
Okay.
did.
All right.
The other rule that they were potentially looking at was so in the bylaws for homeschool students, they have to have a legal residence within 25 miles driving distance of the member school with which he or she wishes to participate with, and they
I
will
feel like
use,
that was the rule before.
They were looking at expanding it to 30 miles, and they did not.
What's the difference?
5 mile difference depends on because they go by driving distance instead of radius of wherever the school's like home place is. So that's what I wonder about that's what I wonder about the differences is
why change that?
Why 25 to 30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see what the I don't know. And I don't see the difference in changing a 25-mile radius to 25-minute drive. Like, are you going to get on Google Maps? Does it matter if there's traffic and it takes you 35 to get there? Do you just get disqualified for that practice in that game? Like, I don't know. Seems arbitrary to me, but again, just my opinion.
And the let's see, they updated some membership fees and things. The one thing that they highlighted about is the tiebreakers. We have not received at all. There was highlighted they were going against so they're in the proposed changes. In case of ties for seeding of tournaments, following procedures will be instituted: A, head-to-head competition during the regular season; B, head-to-head competition against the highest seed to continue to the last place seed; C, flip of a coin by John Horner, TSIAA Executive Director. Now, if we look at the new bylaws, you can tell how upset he is about the ties
I'm not upset.
here.
It just makes my head hurt.
Page 11. So the ties, ties, A, head-to-head competition during the regular season; B, flip of a coin by John Horner. So they did not add a deeper layer. Even if they added that
they
B,
took away a layer.
Yeah, they took it away. So it's just head-to-head. So that means if you
didn't play each other.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean that. It serves a playoff seeding. So it says head-to-head, but if you have
is it head-to-head whether or not you played each other?
Ezel beats CCS. CCS beats South Haven. South Haven beats Ezel Harding. Flip of a coin. It's the same thing. That's the same problem.
Again, you're taking
if that's
the future of kids on these teams. You're taking the way that it's determined off the field.
Yeah.
You got to put it on the field. You got to put it in the you got to put these kids in the driver's seat and say, "Hey, if you want to put yourself in the best postseason situation possible in terms of a tiebreaker, you got to go out there and bust it because all these kids know is, hey, if we get tied, they're just going to flip a coin.
Yeah.
Like, flipping a coin is fine if you're deciding whether you want McDonald's or Sonic.
Well,
flipping a coin is fine whether or
if
not
it's
you're
a
deciding
deeper
Ford
layer.
or Chevy.
If it's a deeper layer, that's where I'd be okay with. Because, again, the NFL tiebreakers, they've got 9
Flipping a coin is
layers.
The flipping a coin is like if you're deciding if you want to be, I don't know.
It's again,
if you want to take a bath or a shower, like that's what flipping a coin is good for.
you flip a coin over that stuff. How's that?
In terms of flipping a coin, call me a bank because I have zero interest. Okay, that's I couldn't give a rip if it was financed. I do not like coin tosses.
I would be fine with it if they just had deeper layers that actually, like you said, put it on the field. But unfortunately,
put it on the field.
Well, I don't understand why it's that. At least us in the media have been saying this for years, and nobody's done anything about it. And more importantly, they took away a tiebreaker because it used to be in division record, head to head, and then flip a coin. So unless
and then I've said for years, make it points allowed, not points scored. Because you can run up the score on somebody and twist the numbers. Points allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you allow more points, if it's a 3-way tie and against the other two teams you've allowed the most points, more than likely if you get put in the playoffs, you're gonna lose.
Yep.
You're gonna lose. So put the results back on the field.
Yep.
I don't understand the incapability of people to look at this coin toss and say I don't understand when they look at a coin toss and go, yeah, this is a totally legitimate way of solving a tiebreaker of the second way of solving a tiebreaker after head to head.
I think it depends because these bylaws are also meant for the entirety of the conference, so you would have to come up with the deeper layer for every sport as well. But they could at least put in something.
No,
for
you wouldn't.
Football.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. If you have 3 basketball teams, if you have 3 basketball teams that are tied in going into a postseason.
The defense played,
points allowed. Bam. Put the result.
Volleyball, points allowed. Soccer, points
put
allowed.
It back on the court, on the field, on the hockey rink. Put it on the soccer pitch. Put it back on the baseball field on the diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Put the results back on the field. Put it on the kids. Don't take these kids' futures away from them just so you can flip a George Washington.
Well said. Well said. Enough of the James rant.
Goodness. This is why it's extreme talk, because
Yes,
the whole thing is me talking about things that I'm passionate about. So anyways.
Yep. Another thing we were passionate about while they were around, the Bowling Green Warriors. They've unfortunately
Moment of silence.
Moment of silence. They unfortunately they unfortunately had to cancel their season due to lack of players for this season, and it's never.
I don't know if it's lack of players or support or what happened, but
I think what we were told was just lack of players. At
lack
least
of interest, maybe.
I think it may have been, but especially because of the situation they had with Legacy Christian Academy, and according to sources, their administration not wanting a football team and any of that. So you hate it for those kids who wanted to play. And I'm sure that they'll, in some way, shape, or form, find a way to play under another football program or something like that in their high school careers. But it's just tough, especially with last year. Bowling Green didn't win a single game, to my knowledge. Going from that to 2019 when they won the MTAC Bowl, and to have that success, and then hey, we're merging the schools. We're not going to have a football team.
It was weird. Like 2019, they went to the MTAC Bowl. No. 2018.
Sorry, yeah, 2018
was the MTAC Bowl. 2019 was the playoff game against Lancaster.
Yep, that's right, because they got rid of the
that
bowl.
went.
Well, yeah, that was also
that was crazy.
Yeah.
With Holman not playing and just
they were building off of that.
They
momentum.
were building and they had momentum and they could have done well. And I don't know. I hate. This is the first year that we will not have any kind of 8-man team in Kentucky.
Yep.
In ever since really like
was it
2005.
Did you have one in 2014?
Yeah. So I'd have to look to see when Evangel started. So Evangel Christian from Louisville.
Okay.
And you had North Hardin Christian, a couple other 8-man teams in Kentucky. They had 8-man. I think Evangel had it until 2012. Mm-hmm. 2012, you had the Western Kentucky Warriors, and they played for 2 seasons. in 20. So that was 2012, 2013, 20. No, they were 2012. No, they were 2013. 2013, 2014. 2015, you had Grace Baptist out of Madisonville.
Yep.
You had them in 2015, 2016. And then, no, that math's off too. That math's off too because Grace was around in it was Grace Baptist in 2016. It was Madisonville in 17, Madisonville Defenders.
Yep.
So my point is that every year you've had a team from Kentucky because even when Madisonville dropped off, Bowling Green was still there. So this is the first year since like 2005 maybe that we haven't had an 8-man team in Kentucky.
That's unfortunate.
Hate to see it.
Yeah, you hate to see it, and especially for it was the.
I look like I just blanked out there.
It was also Don Brown's final game coaching his career against the Lighthouse Christian School.
Let's give it a hand for Don
Brown.
Brown's coaching career.
Yeah, Don Brown
coached his sons through, coached a lot of great young men through, coached in our All-Star games twice. Had a great rapport with a whole lot of coaches. Just had good relationships.
Coached
with a lot
two
of
All-Star
coaches.
games.
I said that.
Yeah. I was just affirming that. Coach two All-Star. Coached one of them last second too, like a few weeks beforehand. That was 2019 because we were trying to get some of the coaches and they just couldn't do it. And he agreed to step on board and everything.
One of the people that we enjoyed working with.
Yeah,
enjoyed interacting with.
Absolutely great.
So I hate to see him go, but yeah.
Yeah,
he leaves a legacy of a lot of great young men that have played in that program. Tucker Brown, Tanner Brown, John Stock, Riley Davis, Gage Holman, let's see, Ben Thomas, Cooper Guy, Cam B, let's see.
A lot of other good guys there.
There was a whole bunch of other guys. I know I'm missing. Spencer Baird.
Yep.
Whole lot of guys that played in All-Star games, All-American games. So leaves a great legacy behind for a lot of young men that he gave them the chance to play high school football.
Let's just hope that Legacy Christian turns around the bend going into next year.
Good football.
And
good football.
That honestly, the hope is that it is when they start expanding their building and continuing to improve on stuff that they could do something. But at least at this point,
we're just gonna stay with basketball.
Yeah, at least at this point,
football.
Let's just hope they do that eventually. All right. And now we have two coaching changes of the 8-man teams that we cover, and we have three actually. Well, we had
three. We just don't have all the information on the other one.
No, we have three. So technically four. So we have one of the new team that we're covering, and three of the previous coaches that we're covering. So we'll start out with the first decision that we were made aware about. I just want to clear the air here.
Clear the air, Spencer.
I've already tried to
clear
stuff
the air,
internally
Spencer.
and this kind of stuff, but Riverside Christian Academy. I heard where my source was after the scheduling email was sent out, and it was either that or leading up to it. I had talked to several sources, and they had told me there was a new head coach for Riverside Christian. Seeing that information, I didn't do my job of confirming that this was made aware to the families of Riverside and all of that. So in the morning, I assumed at that point if Coach Creasy had already told the rest of his coaches that he had told everybody else that he needed to know. I was not aware that the morning of or the next day that he was going to announce that to his players. That I didn't know that was the first time they were going to be hearing that. As far as I'm aware, that's already water under the bridge. But I apologize. I should have done my due diligence on that to make sure that everyone was made aware who needed to be made aware. That's on me. But yeah, Coach Creasy's still involved with Riverside Christian. He's still the campus minister over there, and he'll still be around Riverside and still involved with the football program in some regard. He just decided to step down and give the reins over to Coach Matt O'Neill, who James and I have already started.
Assistant.
Yep, he's been around the Riverside program for a long time. We've interacted with him a few times and started getting more in-depth interaction leading up to the season and everything. Looking forward to cover him. But what a career for Travis Creasy in the helm. Kind of wish we had a headset on him here to get his football knowledge and everything. But
even off the field, like his history of everything he's gone through.
Yep.
it is personal life and inspiring everyone with his fight against cancer and leukemia. And then, just on the field, winning several MTAC bowls and Division II titles, and just the again, just like Don Brown, the young men that him and Don Brown were the coaches in the first All-Star game.
Yep.
So you hate to see both of them be done after this year, but the amount of young men that came through that Riverside program, he led Riverside from 11-man TWSAA to moving to 8-man back in 2012.
Yep.
Kind of led that charge, and then just took off with it and did great. Hate to see him go. I know he's sticking around the school and still being involved. But again, and then with Coach O'Neill, great interactions every time we've talked to him. I'm looking forward to working with him as head coach.
Yeah, it's going to be good to go down to Riverside if we get a chance to go down there this year. And then one of the other moves that was more recent and almost out of the blue, at least for the people we talked to, we didn't know that there was going to be a change coming down, but Coach Sean Bell, the offensive coordinator for Lancaster Christian Academy, he saw an opportunity, he took it, and he is now the athletic director and the head coach for the Lighthouse Christian School Lions. Who, and of course, after Dwan Sharp left for I believe it was a training role at Ensworth or something like that. Coach Brian Hollis had a lot on his plate with being the assistant athletic director and everything he does continually within the school of Lighthouse. And of course, with them having a change in the head of school last year during a pandemic and all that, it was there's a lot of stuff on Coach Hollis's plate. So I'm sure they were looking for somebody, and at least according to people I talked to, Carlton Battle was the athletic director for Lighthouse. I believe he moved elsewhere. But Sean Bell took over the role of athletic director, and I think it was, especially for him to work under a great coach like Jason Bragg, and to have that kind of training and seeing the systems and everything. It's one of the things you see kind of often in a high schools where when you start training as an assistant coach and everything, and for those who are more passionate about education or athletic administration, it's a perfect segue for them. So, Coach Bell, he's got his work cut out for him at Lighthouse. It's going to be fun to see this season. I can confirm that at some point this year we are going to go back to Lighthouse because we haven't been there since 2018. We haven't gone to one of their home games, so we're going to go to Antioch and head over to Lighthouse and see what Sean Bell is working on. But anytime we've interacted with him, he's a great guy, great coach, and looking forward to see how he is as a head coach in a new environment.
Well, and you see what he's been able to do with Deuce Bragg and the rest of the Lancaster offense, and how high powered he's had guys like Matt Bowden, T.J. Robbins, Devin Hargrove, Jordan Horde.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm missing some guys, but ever since he's been in 8-man, since they've been an 8-man, to see what he's been able to do with all of that talent, I'm super excited to see what he's going to be able to do at Lighthouse. You have some really good athletes at Lighthouse. E.J. Nesbitt, I believe, was their quarterback last year. I believe he's coming back. And just I'm excited to see what he can do there. Shout out to Aiden Hooper, who's at Middle Tennessee Christian now, and tearing it up.
I think he graduated actually.
No,
or he's a senior year.
He's actually coming up in the next few weeks. He's going to announce his top 3 for schools that for schools that have offered him. But you kind of wish that maybe he was at Lighthouse and could work with Sean Bell. You wonder what he could do, seeing what Sean Bell did with Deuce Bragg. And I'm not saying all of Deuce's success is due to Sean Bell. Deuce is an amazing athlete, amazing quarterback. He's done well. His dad's helped him as a coach. He's developed well. He's taken from everything we've heard, everything that everyone's worked on him with. He's taken it. He's developed it. He's gotten to be just insanely good. Obviously, he's only a junior this year, but a lot of high hopes for him and what he's done the last 3 years. But you wonder what Coach Sean Bell could do, and you wonder what he can do with the athletes that Lighthouse still has on the roster. If everyone's coming back, I'm going to pull up the roster because I want to point out some guys that I think will be coming back. Some guys that it'll be interesting to see what coach can do with them. Like I mentioned EJ Nesbitt. Let's see, Douglas Ford, Jamar Teague did graduate, but got guys like Christian McLean. Kobe Sweat did graduate. Jared Campbell graduated. So you got some guys on that roster that, and that's not even to say, who else are they going to bring in? Who else is Coach Bell going to be able to recruit and get to the school or bring out of the hallways? They've got some amazing athletes on the basketball team. They've always been a basketball powerhouse. Maybe he can bring guys from the basketball. What was the guy's name 2 years ago? Oh, goodness.
I haven't paid attention as much to Lighthouse basketball, but
they had a guy that was on the football team. He was mainly a basketball guy, but he played football. You know who I'm talking about.
I'm pretty sure I could see him now. I don't remember the guy's name.
You know who I'm talking about.
I know.
Now I got to go to Max Preps.
Wasn't it that you talking about in 2018 when they had they were either passing
no, it was
or
19.
running?
It was 19.
Yeah, there was one of them.
Let me see if I can find his name.
Do they put the roster on Max Preps? I don't think they
might.
It in there.
They might.
Hopefully they'll start doing that this year.
Unfortunately, it's a shame. Most of these schools hesitate to do that.
Yeah.
We're already at 5:20. Wow.
Mm-hmm. When you're talking and catching up people, we got a lot of things that we're catching people up on.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, it's just a lot of stuff that we had to catch up to everything. So but see if we can find the update on that. I'm not sure, but
anyways, you can keep going. I'm gonna find this guy's name.
Yeah, because I'm sure immediately when you say it, I'm at Michael Bond.
No, he played at.
Okay,
he was at Lighthouse, but
and
he was incredible. But it wasn't him.
That name is slipping me right now.
Hang on. Nick Kennard.
Kennard. Okay.
Nick Kennard. That was his name. Great basketball player, but also really good on the football field too. And then you had Christian Sharp, who was out all of last year, but he'll be a senior this upcoming year. So he's on the team. He's coming back.
He had that ankle injury in practice right before the first game. But it's a good time it happened in his junior year and not his senior year. So ready to see what he does in his final year assuming he's coming back.
I think out of all they all. It wasn't E.J. Liddell. I'm excited to see all these coaching changes and see what they bring. Every time you have a coaching change, you think, okay, what are they going to bring? What new are they going to bring to the team? It's always exciting to see that.
Oh yeah, and at least from the other teams we cover, all of their head coaches are exactly the same. No changes to our knowledge, if there are any. You get my DMs are always open on social media for any insider tips that you have. But the new team that we have, of course, Bob Ateka is the head coach for Grace Baptist Academy. And
I guess we have 4 coaching changes then.
Oh yeah, you're talking
well, Ateka isn't really a coaching change.
His is changing into 8-man.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see that transition. You saw it successfully done with Coach McGee. And with Coach Ferguson coming from Franklin Road,
right.
They had their struggles last year, but he at least started to get the system, was understanding what was going on. But Coach Ateka, it's going to be an interesting transition for him, especially with Grace Baptist being 11-man for so many years.
I'm not sure how long he's been at the school, and that's on me for not knowing that. But Grace Baptist, he kind of has a little bit of a head start because I'm sure as soon as last year was over, they started looking at the 8-man game.
Probably looking at our film.
And looking at some film, figuring out what they're going to do. But like I said, I'm excited to see Grace come in here and just excited to see what they can do. I know they're not eligible for postseason play, with this being their first season. But,
yep.
I think it will be a lot of fun. It'll be fun to see new rivalries develop.
Yeah, and with that being the case with the eligibility, at least in the TSIAA, that means they are keeping the Division II structure for the rest of the conference in the current way it is, and we've already gone about it. Call it a Commissioner's Cup. Call it something that's distinctive of where it's not a state championship. I'll just leave it at that.
It's not a state championship.
It's not a state championship. But at least with the ones with the teams we're covering, Grace Baptist isn't eligible, so only
Here you go. Whether you're Division I or Division II or whatever, If you want to call yourself state champion, fine. But play every team. Play every really good team in the state.
Beat the Tennessee Heat.
Play the Tennessee Heat. Play Tennessee Heat. I'm serious. Play the Tennessee Heat.
But at least out of the TSIAA teams, because Grace Baptist is not eligible, only one team from the South is going to go to the Division II playoffs, and it'll be 2 teams from the North since there's no word of any ineligibilities in the North. So, again, you have a system to wonder of which one gets the first round bye in the D2 championship as such. Again,
Bob Ateka, by the way.
Mm-hmm. His history?
Well, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, it looks like he's been there since 2010.
So in his 11th year coaching, he's got to drop 2 linemen and a wideout.
I believe it's his 11th year. They've got, I guess maybe in 2014 they stopped putting who the coach was on the, they started putting NA. But they've got him coaching from 2010 to 2013. So I'm going to say he's been there.
He's been involved for a while, so. But best of luck to Coach Deca. And then at least out of the teams we cover or are scheduled to cover, and we'll get into that, the Tennessee School for the Deaf Vikings, Jordan Cooper is no longer the head coach over there. We don't know who the new head coach is. We've reached out for comment to the TSD administration. Nothing yet, but another one of the great coaches that unfortunately we don't get to interact with anymore with Coach Cooper heading elsewhere.
Looks like Coach Ateka has been at Grace Baptist since 2015.
Okay.
According to his LinkedIn.
But in terms of Coach Cooper, ashamed to see him go. But
hey, he got a big job over there, going to Maryville High School.
He's their head coach over there now.
No, not head coach, but he's on the staff. And Maryville is a powerhouse.
Yep.
It's one of those situations where the high school stadium is nicer than the college stadium. Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, so we haven't gotten any information yet from the administration for the Tennessee School for the Deaf. Still waiting to receive an email back on who their head coach is over there. And as far as we're aware, they are going forward with their season. Haven't heard otherwise. But, it'll be depending on if they respond or if they get back to us. It's looking forward to potentially going out to Knoxville again if the opportunity presents itself.
I would love to go out there. We just got to get everything worked out.
Yep. Which gets right into our final topic for the day, which is the coverage guidelines. So, you've heard us complain on air multiple times about why call it a press box if the press aren't allowed. Why are coaches secretive?
We made a TikTok about it too.
Probably. Why are coaches secretive about hiding their statistics and their film, but not presenting their players in the best of light? Why are they have issues with other things?
And to clarify, we're not talking about coaches that legitimately don't have the time to sit there and compile their stats or, something like that. We're talking about the coaches that have the information, and won't share it. But anyways. So I just want to throw that in there because there's some legitimate coaches that coaches that legitimately don't have the time to sit down and do that, and I get that.
Yep. So we sent out. So there have been multiple times where we've had situations where we've gone to a school to cover a team, and they've either said no, you can't be in the press box, or no, or we're not going to give you statistics, not give you film or any of this stuff. No, I don't want. We don't want to come on the show, or don't want to make the time, even though giving advance notice. So we decided in the off season that it was time to lay out up front our expectations on both sides, just to tell the schools, look, we want to give your players the most exposure and put your program in the best of light. So we're going to send out guidelines to you, not policies, guidelines for how in order for us to do that, you have to give us some basic things. So we actually put a link. I think it's still in our Instagram bio and our social media and such, that it has it on there. I'm not going to read it word for word, but essentially we have 3 levels of coverage: basic, extra, and above and beyond. And for the basic coverage, no school has to pay a dime. There is no cost associated with it. It's just you have to agree to the guidelines.
Let's clarify.
Out. Yep.
No school has to pay for anything at all.
Nope.
Ever.
Nope.
Never charge the school to
never
come
will.
Broadcast a game, cover them during the year, give their kids. Never have, never will. Not happening.
Yeah, there's no charges associated with it. It's not going to happen. And we don't. And I'll get into that in the policies. So just to tell you guys, basic coverage. The Schooler team is expected to provide access to and ample space in their home field press box, or only in the event of the field not having a press box, adequate accommodation through an elevated stand, scaffolding, or a covered designated area on top of the row of the bleachers. And it mentions in there, you see some of the equipment here. There's off camera. There's a whole bunch of boxes and a bag over there with all of our equipment.
I think we're ending up, and it's not to pump us up. It's hey, we're trying to do the best we can with this with the broadcast and with this platform that we have and this opportunity we have. I think a lot of money has been spent on equipment.
Yep.
I'm not going to get into specifics.
Yep.
But
no, neither will I. And we just want to make sure that not only our equipment is protected from any storms that may occur, we also want to make sure that it is. We want to make sure it's protected.
And if you set it up on bleachers, you got people around. They can walk up and just grab something, and take off with it.
We had one game where we were on the bleachers last year, and our equipment got knocked off. I had to replace the hard shell backing on my laptop because it cracked on the bleachers, and that was one of those games where we were not allowed in the press box. So, excuse me.
Bless you.
I need a cough button. Anyways, so we specified.
Right there.
We specified it on there. We all make mistakes in the heat of passion, Jimbo. So the elevation on the press box, it gives the best angle for the players, for the film usage, all of that. So we laid out, if you're going to call it a press box, the press needs to be in it. Simple as that. An accurate roster and updated statistics by the Tuesday before your game is broadcasted at minimum. If you update it on Max Preps, that's acceptable. We'll notify.
I thought you said you weren't going to go word for word.
I'm not going. They're not word for word.
I was just messing with you.
We're basically we'll notify. We'll give advance notice on if we're coming to the game and such. Basically, we need to know who your players are. We need to know what numbers they are, and not do any last-second changes of we swapped jerseys, unless there's a legitimate circumstance like a jersey ripping or there's something like that. But we need to know who your stars are so we can highlight them. We need to know who we're calling on the field so that we don't have parents saying, hey, that's my kid, that's not that kid.
What was that you had a couple years ago where you were calling this guy as the quarterback, and he wasn't actually a quarterback? I forget which school it was, but they swapped numbers around, and so you said, oh, this number is playing quarterback.
Lighthouse, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember who it was.
It may have been Lighthouse at the time.
But it was one of those things where it's like, okay, you're calling the wrong kid's name for almost the entirety of the game, and then someone comes up and is like, hey, by the way, such and such has a different number. He's still playing quarterback. You were like, oh, they got a new quarterback because the number swapped. The same number was playing quarterback, but it was a different player.
Yeah, and they just didn't. They got a new guy, but basically we need updated information from the schools so that we can cover their players in the best of circumstances. One live and unscripted interview on Extreme Talk. Again, we'd give advance notice on that kind of thing. And again, it gives the coaches an opportunity to present their program and highlight their players in the best of light. And although we prefer for them to be here in person, we'll give you a phone interview. We'll set it up.
That'll work.
Such. It just makes it easier. We also mentioned it's more flexible on this one, but one primetime game either on Thursday or Saturday night, just so, again, highlighting your players. And then you guys can have an off night. You could see who we're broadcasting, scope out some other film, that kind of stuff. Player nomination for Extreme of the Week. And then spacing and allowing us to hang both of our banners in stadium because we had a school.
An issue with that.
Yeah. We had a school that claimed we were exploiting players, and
then during their broadcast they were in an ad.
Yeah, they were running advertisements on it, so it just very hypocritical. But those are the basic guidelines. We offer in return complete coverage, helmet schedule. Your team is on there. Extreme Talk. We talk about you and your players every week. We highlight people. We guarantee once during the season we will broadcast a game for you at some point during the regular season. We put the Extreme Player of the Week voting. We'll vote on you. Very simple. We'll let the public vote as we always do with Extreme Player of the Week. And then once the game is done, you get our film directly because there are only 3 categories of people that get our film directly without prior consent. the officiating organization involved because that's for review. They're not going to share it to anybody. It's for internal review and for them to get better. League administration, if they have any ejections or suspensions, they need every possible angle, so we give it to the appropriate league in that regard. And the coaches, if they ask, because they deserve the additional film and angle and that kind of stuff. And the links stay private until the off season
Right, and
when
that's
we
when we
publish
release
those
them once a
weekly.
week.
But that's
Yeah.
months after the season where it doesn't even matter about those kind of stuff.
There's no competitive advantage to be
Yep,
gotten.
no competitive advantage on that. And then mention the team schedule. Those are the basic guidelines that do not cost a dime. Now, if a school wants to support what we're doing and even more, and they believe in our vision and exposing the players, there is extra coverage with which if you pay $250 per season, follow basic coverage, and we will run if your team is playing in the extreme game of the week, we'll run a 30-second advertisement for your school during halftime. Gives you marketing exposure to our follower base and everything. It's marketing expense. And then if you want to go above and beyond, $500 once per season, you get everything included, and we will guarantee broadcast your homecoming game. And we will sync up the audio with our broadcast for all the ceremonies and such, so that you can, so that your school can pull those, and so they could pull them and use it for memorabilia.
Which is a big deal because a lot of for a lot of people, little Joe is trying to become the homecoming king, and Grandma and Grandpa can't make it, so they can watch homecoming.
Exactly.
So there you go.
Those are the guidelines. Time to let you guys know about all the schools that have accepted and/or denied this. So actually, it's not that difficult of a list.
It's really not.
So every school in the Tennessee State Independent Athletic Association, except for one, has accepted them. We got a last-minute confirmation within the last few hours on one of them. So kudos to them for getting me that last-minute confirmation. But every school in the Tennessee State Independent Athletic Association has approved the policies, guidelines, except for Franklin Christian Academy. They straight up said no. They said, we have our own broadcast. We don't need you. So if you have any questions on why, so we will not be mentioned. This is the only time you're really going to hear about them. I mean, when we're going through predictions, we will mention that.
We'll mention that a team that we're covering is playing them.
Yep. And the pick is automatically going to go to the team we are covering. They are not getting their own feature on the helmet schedule. None of the players for Franklin Christian Academy are eligible for the Player of the Week, and we will not be doing an Extreme Game of the Week broadcast. So if you would like, if those who are players, coaches, and or parents of Franklin Christian Academy, if you would like us to cover the Franklin Christian Academy Falcons during the regular season, contact Casey Jorgensen, Tim Johnson, Wayne Smith, and or Hugh Harris, and ask them why they wouldn't agree to the basic guidelines we gave of just press box space, statistics, roster, coach on the show once a year. And again, not all of them have to be agreed to. It's just that with the guidelines,
at least communicate
which ones. They straight up told us, no, we can't accommodate for you, even though they've accommodated for us in the past and giving us press box space, and they've given us statistics and updated rosters and such. They just told us no. So Casey Jorgensen, Tim Johnson, Wayne Smith, Hugh Harris. Ask them why they don't want your kids getting the exposure they deserve.
Let's also. Well, I'm sorry. Are you good?
I was going to transition to something, but go ahead.
What were we going to transition to?
Oh, I was.
Let's see if we're on the same page.
The independent teams.
Well, they're not independent.
Some
of them
teams non-TSIAA, but go ahead, James.
No, you go ahead. It actually matches up. Go ahead.
So yeah, again, Franklin Christian Academy, parents, coaches, players, talk to your coach, ask them why. So, and in terms of we call them independent because of being independent for the TSIAA because we're based in Tennessee, and we primarily stick around there just because of the travel and situations. But as we have grown, there are teams outside of the state and around the region that appreciate what we do and actually get the message and want their players to be fully exposed. So, So, in terms of the non-TSIAA teams we are covering, we are fully covering the Evangel Christian School Lightning this year.
Yeah.
We are really excited for
Been
that.
covering them the last couple of years.
Yeah,
they're a fun team to watch.
We've been getting them in some games. I know we started that in 2019 when we went down for their game against Ezel Harding, which
Well, the first time we broadcast them was 18 against Christian Community.
that is true. Well, in terms of the regular season, because that was the national
19.
championship and everything. But 2019 we went down to Evangel for the first time, and that was an amazing experience.
That was
You know,
a lot of
Tim
fun.
Johnson, everybody
Tim Smith.
involved. So, I'm thinking of the other coach. Tim Smith is incredible. He every time we go down there, he goes out of his way and above and beyond.
Every one of those people.
Yeah, everyone at Evangel.
it's a
They're
great
always above and
experience.
beyond, and they always accommodate us. So shout out to the Evangel people. We're looking forward to at least once we are going to go down to Alabaster, Alabama, and
It's Montevilla.
Montevilla is
Is
where
where
the
they're-
field is,
yeah.
the complex is technically. But we're covering the Evangel Christian School Lightning this year full time. We're also covering the Ezekiel Academy Knights full time. COVID up
Your
to
2020 ACSC state champs.
state champs, yeah, and Coach Hunter Wilson. Hey, congratulations to Coach Wilson on getting engaged.
Congratulate.
Congratulate! Give it up! Give it up!
They
Congratulations!
got married.
No, they just got engaged about a few months ago. I don't think their marriage is yet. Well, maybe they had a justice of the peace. If maybe they had a justice.
I think they got married, homeboy.
Well, I mean, if
How
that's the
dare you
case,
downplay it.
congratulations. I didn't know, but congratulations if that's the case. If they had a justice of the peace.
No, they were married.
They-
No,
No, that's their engagement. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. They got
right.
engaged. They got engaged. Yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
We'll step off camera just for a second.
Okay.
Keep going.
Well, as James steps off for a little bit. So that's the only thing about doing this on video, doing this whole on video thing. It's trying to step aside and do certain things. It doesn't work as well. But no, Ezekiel Academy, we're excited to cover them full time. They got some really good games going down the stretch. At least right now, the plan is to cover the Alabama State Championship. Not sure when. I believe that's the first Friday of November. We'll be covering that state championship. We're really excited to try and make that happen.
They are not married. They are just engaged.
Yep. But no.
Our bad. My bad.
Ezekiel, but Ezekiel Academy, excited to cover you guys. We're also covering the Sacred Heart of Jesus High School Knights. They are independent this year. They will not be in the TSIAA, but excited to see Coach Blankenship and see what his guys are working on again, and going down to the home of Pringles in Jackson, Tennessee. It's gonna be special out there. And I was actually
What?
the Pringles factory. It's in Jackson, Tennessee. He's just I don't get
And
it.
I'm the guy over 300 pounds, and he's over here talking about where Pringles are made.
Hey man, when you're like me and you get bored
I'm more
sometimes eating food, you read the labels and
Do you really?
sometimes I used to, not as much anymore, but
Okay.
I have a memory like that.
I do have a goal of going to a Milo's restaurant in Alabama when we go down there,
We'll have to make that happen. We got
because we're going down there a few times. Spoiler.
How dare you give that spoiler? Well,
You already gave away twice.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But
Did you know Jackson doesn't have a baseball team anymore?
they have I think they actually restructured it with the AAA stuff. I think that with the restructure.
Well, they never had a
everything,
AAA, but
it was
the
a-
Jackson Generals are gone.
They have some baseball team down there in the minor leagues.
They're hosting one from
Yeah.
Canada.
Oh,
Anyways,
yeah, that's right. They're
anyways,
hosting the
anyways.
stuff. But and we are also covering the Southern Preparatory Academy.
Yeah.
What's their
The
mascot again?
Fighting Rangers.
Fighting Rangers. Yep.
Let's
I
go.
think they're the furthest south team that we cover. Or is that Ezekiel?
No,
Academy?
that's Ezekiel.
Ezekiel.
Yeah.
They're close. They're close. Actually, they're just south of Birmingham.
Southern Prep is just outside of Auburn,
Mm-hmm.
and then Ezekiel is down near Montgomery.
Yep, Coach Roland Bell. We've had a pleasure of working with you several times. We're excited to go down and cover the Fighting Rangers and.
It'll be our first ever game from a military school.
Oh yeah,
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be a lot of fun.
kind of.
First.
Oh yeah, there's a first for everything.
Yeah.
So we got,
Oh yeah.
once again, for I think ever since 8-Man Extreme started, the Tennessee Heat will be covered.
Let's go Heat.
Yeah, the Tennessee Heat.
Hey, listen. I've heard a lot about what they've done out there at Charlie Daniels Park and Mount Juliet. In case everybody didn't know, Mount Juliet, the city of Mount Juliet, pretty much handed them the keys to Charlie Daniels
Yep.
Park, like the football field and the concession, and said, "Hey, this is y'all's place." And so they've been doing a lot of work on the concession stand, the press box, the restrooms. They've just been overhauling everything. It's supposed to look extremely professional and just really great. They've been doing a lot of work to the field. I'm excited about getting down there and catching a game there.
Even before they've done all the renovations and such, it was a good setup.
Oh, it was a great setup. It was a great environment.
I mean, other than the scoreboard situation, but the important thing is they knew that it was something that they were going to do.
They're putting a new scoreboard in
Yeah,
now.
the scoreboard's in now. Yeah,
they
knew that it was going to be something that they would have to do
Exactly.
eventually. It was just last year. That was the only thing that, people were having an issue with, but now it's not a problem.
Right.
Not a problem. Now they have a big scoreboard in there. So Tennessee Heat. We're gonna give an extended time for one other independent team we're supposed to be covering. That's the Tennessee School for the Deaf Vikings, because we're assuming that in the summer they may not respond to certain emails, or they may not be on their email such. We're giving them one more week, and that'll determine on if we're covering the Vikings or not.
And I believe we're also trying to finalize the Freedom Cowboys as well.
I believe, we're trying to finalize
We're trying to
it.
get a final answer. We've gotten somewhat of an answer, but not enough to where to finally say one way or another. So we're waiting on a final answer. We need to lock it down. Hopefully we will know in the next couple weeks.
We're also waiting on a final answer from the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors.
Yes.
So those two
out of
teams.
Oneota, Alabama.
Oneota.
I believe that's 3. That'll make 3 out of the 4 teams in the ACSC that we're officially covering.
Yep. 3
Evangel, Ezekiel, and Lighthouse.
What's the other team that we want to cover?
East Central Homeschool Patriots.
East Central, yep. So, but we're waiting on final answers from the Tennessee School for the Deaf, the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors, and the Freedom Cowboys, the official final answers. But we have gotten final answers from the rest of the TSI AA teams, and only one of them has said no. So
I hate it, but hey,
we hate
it is what it is.
Hate it for the kids, but it's you figure with however many years of all of us on air saying we need press box access, we need rosters, we need statistics, and nothing coming from it. Parents, if you want us to cover your kids, talk to your coach.
And if not, no hard feelings. Hope y'all have a great season.
Yep. Best of luck. Best of luck to you guys. The only other change really in terms of the TSIAA, they moved back the playoffs. Now last year, of course, the pandemic set everything in a frenzy, but it was about the same schedule as they had in 2019. No, it was the same schedule they had in 2019. It was just that there was an extra weekend in November that pushed back Thanksgiving, so that's why Ezel Harding was able to go down to Florida.
Right.
But now, with the way the scheduling is, the playoffs officially start on October 22nd, that weekend for the TSIAA. Their state championship is the first weekend of November, same as the ACSC or ASCS.
ACSC. Alabama Christian State Conference.
So
Alabama Christian Sports Conference.
So this means that the champion of the TSIAA, if they raise the funds and if their administration prioritizes it, they can go down to Florida and try to bring home a national championship to the state of Tennessee. It would be the first time it would happen since 2017 if a team from Tennessee can pull it off.
TCS won it in 17.
They got a tough challenge though with the 3-time defending national champions in the Evangel Christian School Lightning if they want to. It's just something about that Tim Smith magic when it comes down to those clutch situations.
It's the team that he's had. I mean, he's had Tyler Henderson the first 2 years they won it, and then last year he had Jet Lodge, Tim Howard, Bradley Davis, Eli Whitfield, the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So they've had so many playmakers that come through, and I know they're losing Lodge and Davis and Howard, but Whitfield's still coming back. They still got a lot of talent. Riley Davis is still coming back. So they still have a lot of guys on that roster.
Yeah, and especially for Evangel, it's not you think every year that Evangel has to regroup. I mean, I've been seeing some of the spring training for Coach Smith and company. You think they would have to regroup at this phase, but they don't regroup. They just reload.
As a Tennessee fan, it hurts me to say this, but I mean they are legitimately like Alabama. They just reload.
They're a dynasty. They're a dynasty in high school football, and you wonder how long it'll last. Doesn't look like any chance of it stopping anytime soon. So it'll be interesting. And, the Tennessee Heat's kind of on the rise with that, too. They're uncontested state champions for 2020. And, they faced –
I still need to get my shirt.
They had to face –
Riley Mason is the guy's name.
Yep.
the young man's name.
But the
It's coming
Tennessee
back.
Heat, they're kind of on the rise too, because they're uncontested state champions. They went down to Florida, and they just got the unfortunate luck of the draw with facing off against Evangel in that semifinal, and had their work cut out for them. But
We
Tennessee,
all got robbed of the Tennessee Heat
Yeah,
Ezekiel game.
that would have been something.
And then we
special.
got robbed of Tennessee Heat Southern Prep.
Yeah, because of the
I hated it.
because of the COVID situation with that. But it's going to be a fun stretch in November, James.
Oh,
First
yeah.
week, so we've
Oh,
got first weekend TSIAA
Couple state
playoffs.
championships.
First weekend in November, the two state championships, national championship, and NACA is coming back that weekend.
Yep,
So maybe
yep.
that's on Thursday. Fingers crossed it's on Thursday. So that we could do Thursday, Friday, Saturday for those state championships. Third weekend, the state championship, I believe, for South
I
Carolina.
think South Carolina's going
Yeah,
on, yeah.
they got theirs.
Georgia somewhere in there, too.
Yeah, somewhere.
There's a whole lot of
Well-
states. Hey, check it out. Okay, listen. We've had people reach out to us from Missouri, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Mississippi. Listen, if you're and hey, we'll go north. Northern 8 in Ohio, Illinois 8-man, Michigan, whoever. If your championship game is in November and you're interested in us broadcasting it, hit us up. Let's find out what the date is. Let's see if we can
schedule
make
it,
something
yeah.
happen. Let's see if we can make it work. If we can't, it's terrible. But hey, let's
travel-
go do some championship games.
We
I'm
travel
down to do
pretty
some
well.
championships.
Championship November.
The level of quality we're going to bring is unrivaled.
Yep.
Hands down, I will put it up against anybody's broadcast, whether it's school backed or not.
Yeah, championship November.
I will put it up against it.
I think that's what we should coin the term now. Championship November. Get a sponsor to present it. Maybe one of our new sponsors we're getting in the next few weeks or so. We got them almost all finalized.
Still working on a couple, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens.
See what happens, but. I mean, it's looking like it's going to be a good season, and I believe we caught everybody up. We've caught you guys all up on everything major.
We just went 2
that's happened.
hours.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the offseason.
I get used to it because, hey, we got a lot more teams we're covering this year.
Oh yeah.
Got to have time to cover 'em.
Same formula, different name, but everything.
Same
is,
great coverage.
Yeah, we're back to the same.
Except
great
for y'all
coverage
having to
and
see this.
Ready for my
Not the beard, just my face overall. Leave my beard alone, okay? It's an Amish chin strap. Leave it alone.
Amish chin strap.
What? I'm going. Hey, listen, I'm vying to be on the penny.
Who says you aren't on the penny already? That could be you. It could be you. Who
Big enough
knows?
to be on a $50.
Who knows? But that's all the that's honestly all the notes I've got for this week of catching up. Unless you got
Hey,
anything else, you
as
could
long
think
as
of.
y'all know that we're still here
Mm-hmm.
and still doing great.
Still here and still doing great.
All right, coming up in the next couple weeks, we'll do our predictions.
Yep. James will give his predictions for the season. We're not going to reveal any names yet until we get them into the swing of things, but we do have several people that are coming on board for 8-Man Extreme this year. Several people. We had a great informational meeting earlier. If anybody's still interested in getting involved in the sports media scene or in the 8-Man high school football world, the DMs are always open on at 8-Man Extreme on any of our social media profiles. We'd love to get you involved, but at least for the people who are here and we met and discussed with them, they all seem really passionate and interested, and we're looking forward to having some new faces around here and some more people to make us look and sound better than we actually are, but to make everything run so smoothly. It's going to be special.
I sound fantastic. I don't look great, but can't nobody help me look better.
Sound and look better than we actually are, but yeah, coming up on April. I keep saying April.
Why
April,
are you
I'm in
so
that
obsessed
mentality.
with April?
I don't know. Coming up on August 6th and 7th is the Christian Community School Jamboree. We'll preview that in a few weeks, but once that happens, that's it's just every week hit the ground running. Broadcast season.
Hi, it's football season.
Yep, it is 8-man football
For
season.
the next 5 months. 6 months, really, if you count Gatlinburg game.
5-6 months.
Ground and pound.
5 of weekly coverage. 6 of
overall
sporadic.
coverage.
6 of overall. I was going to say sporadic, just to put it. That's more a negative
All right,
connotation. So, but
There you go.
James, let's start off the
2 hours of radio.
Let's start out the final show right. Your usual shout-outs. Every show you give a shout-out to something or some way so you don't interrupt me at the end. So, come
let's
on.
see. Shout out to teams who have accepted the guidelines.
Yep.
Looking forward to covering you.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to my smoking hot wife and my 2 beautiful children. Y'all pray for him this season because
Yeah, you're
it's
traveling.
a long year.
He's traveling with us this.
It's a
this
long
year.
year.
James is going to be on site. We'll try to keep. We'll try to keep. If you want to still socially distance from James Shannon, we can make that happen.
Jeez, off the top rope.
Hey, remember? Anytime you go on a game site, people just shout stuff like, "You think the Heat's going to win this week?" Like,
Or people bring me bangs.
yeah.
I haven't been drinking as much bang. Actually, it's off camera. Rain Orange
Not a
Dreamsicle.
sponsor.
Not a sponsor. It's
Although
pretty
we
good,
wish
though.
they were.
It's pretty good though.
Call us. But
Call us.
just
Hey, body armor.
body armor. Just call it. You know what's up. You know what's up. But anything
go.
else? That's all yours.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't got anything.
I
else
don't
this
got.
week. I don't got anything else. Yeah, the
Been
Southern
hanging
is
out
coming
with
out,
me.
right? Hanging out with you too much.
Gosh
and the
darn it,
Southern
hanging
lingo.
in there like a hand on a
God-
biscuit.
God darn it. All right. That is going to wrap it up for the season premiere of Extreme Talk. Again, no longer Extreme Radio and 2 hours of talking. No more 2 hours of radio.
I know.
It's technically a podcast at this point.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
We could have called it Extreme Podcast. We missed the opportunity on that,
Nah, I
actually.
wouldn't have called it that.
Yeah, we missed the opportunity.
It's
on that,
extreme
but,
talk
yeah.
because it's extreme talk.
Mhm.
There's going to be very polarizing opinions and things said, and there's going to be people who get butt hurt, and it's
Mhm.
okay.
At the end of the day, he's trying to give exposure to these kids, and if you can't see through that, then, well, it's.
I got 2 words for you.
no.
Love you. Ah, pulled a change up on you.
Yeah.
You knew where it was going.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna go on the build a bridge analogy, but
No.
looks like we didn't go down that route.
I'm going to go here. I was gonna go
All
here.
right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of Extreme Talk. For James Shannon, for Monica Shannon, for all the hardworking men and women that make 8-Man Extreme so successful, I'm Spencer Thompson saying so long from the GracePointe Healthcare Studios. We'll be back next week.
See ya!